Hey, season 2, week 9. That's not a game. Could there be a game this week? Surely by week 9 we gotta have a game. We gotta have a game. There's gotta be a game today. There's one for consideration. We'll get to that though. Uh, let's just talk about the rest of the stuff. Because, again, there's almost no reason to watch college football. Um, there's nothing relevant. West Coast is irrelevant. There's three teams rated in the top 25 in Florida, and two of them are South Florida and UCF. Oh, it's funny to me. Florida, no. Florida State, they're crashing and burning. Miami at number 8. I don't know. I haven't played anybody. They could be this year's version of last year's Nebraska. 7-0, haven't played nobody, and they end up losing everything the rest of the year. I like Mark Richt though, so maybe. But I don't know, maybe. Yeah, Florida. Don't even know what to make of it anymore. Used to be able to count on you, not so much anymore. SEC, you got Alabama, maybe Georgia. Other than that, they're irrelevant. Big Ten. Big Ten. Big Ten is just boring, aren't they? I mean, they're just boring. You have Penn State. It's intriguing. We'll get to Penn State more in a minute. It's intriguing. The whole can they kind of regroup from the whole fiasco that happened there a few years ago. Rooting for them, but I don't know. Penn State has no personality. Neither does Ohio State, for that matter. We'll get to that in a minute. You got Wisconsin. I don't know, it's just kind of the blue collar football. I don't know. It's not fun. It's not. They don't play games. They don't play games, even when they're good. That's why it's hard to call games when they're in the Big Ten. I don't know. There's no reason to watch football. Yeah. There isn't any reason. So there's no games. Like most of the teams that we cover on here are so bad this year that like I don't even look up who they're playing anymore because they are the reason why it's not a game, not the teams they're playing. It's I mean the whole purpose of this thing is almost gone. All right, but let's talk about. So there's no games other than let's just talk about the one that probably a lot of people would consider a game: Ohio State, Penn State. Again, it is the Big Ten, and in the Big Ten, it's a game. In the Big Ten, it's a game. In the larger, I'm picturing friends of mine from other conferences, from other parts of the country. Would they look at this and is there there's like a little bit of intrigue because the college football world is starving for like any kind of actual games. So like the bigger college football community, I think like because there's been a vacuum of games to the largest college football community, it's probably a game. So here's the transcending, intriguing part to me, on which it hinges about is it a game or is it not a game. Ohio State, I don't know. They're sort of to me, Ohio State has kind of no football personality. They either lose a game early and then win the rest, and if there is nobody who's like dominant at the end of the year, they have a chance to win a national championship, which is like a boring way to win a national championship, if there is such a thing. Or they win because they don't play anybody, and then they get to the point where they're going to play somebody, and they lose at the end of the year. And again, it's just not. So this year, Ohio State, even they beat Oklahoma, or they lost to Oklahoma, which everybody thought like, oh, that was a game, and it's like, well, it turns out kind of Oklahoma was not great. I mean, it's their only loss, but I don't know. Oklahoma seems to me irrelevant in the big picture. Ohio State, yeah, I don't know. I just they might come back, they might not come back this year. Could they make the playoffs? Quite frankly, it's like either way. Their personality is like, I don't really care. I'd rather have somebody else in there because they don't have any personality, their football team. Then you got Penn State. It was kind of the same. They don't have they're just kind of solid, dependable. If you think back to the history of Penn State, and then they went through the whole fiasco with Sandusky, and And what did Paterno know? And it kind of crumbled apart. And it's like you root for a program like that to be able to come back and like kind of put that stuff in the rearview mirror. And so the here's the question: the intriguing part is, does the fact that like Penn State really needs to solidify this comeback with another kind of statement win over a program like Ohio State? Um, there's that factor to it, and then there's the factor of Ohio State. It's like, is this just going to be another year where they lost a game early and they're going to come back and put together a few solid wins at the end of the year and maybe have a solid win into the playoffs and just kind of again that boring football? Is that enough to make this a game? Like, it certainly is going to be an entertaining game. It certainly is a game for the Big Ten and for the larger nation of college football. But is it enough for you to like stop your afternoon because you want to find out what happened with Penn State and Ohio State? And like, even right now as I'm talking about this, I go back and forth. I will probably be watching it, and like, I think I'm gonna throw my friend Israel Bourne. I'm gonna call this a game. All right, it's a game. Ohio State, Penn State. It's a game. In the historical context, there's some things that transcend. It's just a number 6 versus number 2, and they're there because for the most part they haven't really played anybody game. I will call this a game. May regret that later, but it's a game. Watch that game. It's a game. We have a game. Watch it. Penn State, Ohio State. That's it. There's no other games. No other games. Like, shut it off. Watch the World Series. Is that on again tonight? By the way, a lot of those World Series guys now, they look more like they should be playing beer league softball than they do with the World Series. Some of them are, athletic looking, but some of them just like big beards and not really all that athletically built, but they sure can, they can play baseball. But anyway, I digress. One game. There's a game. Penn State, Ohio State. Watch a game. See you next week.